And here we go again. It's Talkin Money with Jeff Tarbell.
All right. Good morning. Nick Perjanik filling in for a 20-year post-honeymoon vacation with his bride-to-be. Jeff Tarbell is up in North Star, Lake Tahoe with his beautiful wife celebrating their 20th wedding anniversary on Leap Day.
Not a lot of that going on anymore.
What's
20 years of marriage, you know?
Yeah. Real happy to have Troy Milburn in today. We've been talking about the ADA issues that businesses are dealing with. And one of the questions that came up in the break was, what about home offices? What are kind of those key areas people are looking for? But I want to take, we have Nick on the phone right now. After Nick's call, I want to address those two topics. Good morning, Nick. You there?
Yeah, here I am.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
What can we do for you?
Well, as a matter of fact, I've been working with the ADA for almost 20 years now. I have a company called Tactile Signage, and we do tactile signage, which is required under Title III of the Act. That's on signage, which is usually it's raised letter Braille, but it includes other type of signage as well, as your guest probably is aware.
So are we talking about the blue placards and
it goes much further than that. For example, we've developed some signs here for the San Juan School District, which are for room identification primarily. We're talking about Title 3, 4.30, and it talks about tactile signage in there quite a bit.
Sure.
Which is raised letter and Braille. Mm-hmm.
Great. Do you have any questions for Troy?
No, I just thought I would interject the fact that I'm very well aware that there are people out there trying to sue retailers or business owners, and I think it's a shame. I've been approached by some that say, I need some signs because I was told I had to, blah, blah, blah. And I said, I would get them for you. I know what you need, Just tell them, give me a list of what you need.
Right. Well, good. Well, appreciate the call. Thanks, Nick. All right. Well, Troy, before the break there, I had two questions for you. One of them was if I'm a financial advisor and I have an office and I want to move it into my home, do I need to worry about ADA requirements if I'm running just myself in my home? Do I need to worry about ADA issues?
No, definitely not. It's ADA is based for commercial real estate, which is considered to be public accommodation. It's unless you have employees, unless you are bringing customers in and out of your home, and it's still considered residential, not commercial.
Okay, great. And Brad, you had a question about what part of the business are people looking at?
Yeah, is there a particular area of the business that's more vulnerable than the
parking stall is? If the parking stall is striped correctly, or if it's got correct signs. Often you can tell if the slope is too excessive in the parking stall itself. Ramps are a big issue. You'll see the asphalt built-up ramps that project out into the access aisle of the parking stalls, and that's a real. That's one of the biggest things that these activists will see, because ultimately the wheelchair lift or the van needs to set on a flat surface so that the individual can exit his vehicle without a drop-off, because it's sitting on a ramp that's projected into the thing. So that's something that's really easy to be seen. Interior-wise, targets are restrooms are a real big item, because individuals can go in there, close the door. Now they can pull out their tape measure and cameras and really kind of identify some items that are non-compliant. And each violation can be up to a $4,000 expense in the lawsuit.
I think it would be against the law to bring a camera and a tape measure into a restroom. I don't know.
Well, I mean, if you know the laws, you're just
sorry.
All right,
just
Brad.
my thought on it.
All righty, all right. Better than a slide rule. Hey, so let me ask you. So, people that utilize your services are people that own their business, want to get it ready to maybe sell their business, need to know if it's ADA at that point. Is having that information or having your report, is that now part of a sales package? So if I'm going to sell my property, I want to present an ADA report with that. How are people using your services?
Well, I think it's more on the buyer standpoint. I mean, from a buyer, I would definitely want to be aware of this, and so it's the savvy real estate investor. They're starting to call to do these pre-inspections of pre-sale inspections because ultimately they can use that to be in the negotiation of their purchase price, and now have this money available to make these improvements, so they're in compliance.
Got it. Other than a squeeze in, any other cases in town kind of surprise you? Anything that would?
Well,
I mean, a squeeze in. I mean, that is kind of like Brad was saying. That's the poster child. I mean, we hear about it, but maybe that even helped their business. I don't know in terms of
I
getting
think
their name out there, but
I think in the long run, I think that probably helped their business. They got a lot of publicity out of that. But the one thing I do want to say is that there is a upside to all of this as well. I mean, to be having your building compliant is it's good for business. I mean, not everybody who's disabled is cruising around in a wheelchair. I mean, I've got grandmas and aunts and uncles and they're all elderly, and just having access to be able to get out of their car, to get to a building and be able to open the door without it being 30 pounds of pressure and slamming on their fingers as they're entering in the building. So there's I mean, it's generally good for business to be compliant, and then once you've made these upgrades, I mean, your property values is higher anyway. So it's kind of good for resale.
I think it's good for business, and I think that it's good that for companies to be compliant. I just think that it's gotten dirty because of these lawsuits, and it's gotten kind of a bad name. And it's unfortunate because it's really to help people that are disabled, but yet you've got people that are filing these frivolous lawsuits that are really making the whole thing kind of ugly.
Right. You hit the nail on the head there. It's compliance is very beneficial. I mean, we have veterans coming back from war. We have people elderly, the baby boomers. I mean, they're getting older, and I mean, access is good. So
in my mind, when I think of ADA, I think of wheelchairs. I mean, that's
right.
Typically. Are there other issues? I mean, is it blind?
Definitely.
What kind of falls into that ADA definition that businesses need to be aware of?
Well, there's the hotel industry right now. They're really a big push on hotels. They want to get their mobile lifts into their swimming pools. They want to make sure their rooms are equipped for the hearing impaired, and which they may have a door buzzer and a flashing strobe light that alerts someone that there's someone knocking at their door, or their phone's ringing and stuff like that.
Wow.
You'll see at Costco's those yellow bumpy pads out in front of the right in front of their walkways
to make your eggs bounce in your cart.
Yeah, the egg breakers. Yeah.
I thought that was so your carts didn't roll out into the
No,
parking lot.
they're actually what they call they're truncated domes, which are an audible alert for someone who has for cane detection. Someone who's visually impaired, they have those long white canes with the red line on the bottom of it and little metal ball on there. So as they're sweeping this across the ground to fill a curb or a sidewalk or a drop off, they hit these detectable warnings, and they kind of make a sound that alerts them that they're about to walk out into traffic.
Oh. Yeah, I think the hearing impaired was something I wasn't aware of. Are there new, I don't want to say new areas of disabilities, but are there new changes or new things, new technologies that are coming into play in some of these businesses, or is the focus still on the driveways and on the ramps and the doors?
Yeah, just the buildings themselves are still the main focus, and are the targets of the lawsuits. But ultimately, just being compliant with all items are best.
I hate to notice something that has to do with a bar, but I've noticed that some of the newer restaurants that are building bars have a lower area at the end of the bar, and that gives them access for people with wheelchairs that they can actually go to the bar.
Yeah, they call it equal accommodation. I mean, if you have bar seating, then for able bodies, then you need to have a lower section for wheelchair access, and that's part of the big thing that they had at another common case was the basketball town. They had a dining room and a viewing room on a second level where people could watch the basketball stuff going on, but they didn't have an elevator up there, so up to that level, and that was kind of one of the things that got them in trouble.
So what did they? I guess just for a distinction, if you have a restaurant or a viewing area up above, does it have to be accessible to everybody if you have a viewing or restaurant downstairs also? I mean, does everything in the business have to be accessible by everybody?
Yes, equal accommodation. I mean, equal. If I or you could go on that second level and get a cheeseburger and watch the kids play basketball, then we need to make access for the disabled.
And if it's physically impossible to do something,
sometimes there's the technically infeasible or physically impossible, and then we have to start looking into the local, the people who govern the local jurisdictions, and that kind of gets beyond me.
Okay, no, I
building
understand.
inspectors, building codes, and
Okay, well, for those of you that have questions on ADA, Troy, I'd love for you to stay for the next hour. Our topic is really going to pique some people's interest, and I'm glad to have our topic here. Our author in the studio, Brad DeHaven's going to be here talking about OxyContin addictions, his experience, his book. But Troy, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, to have you come out, take a look at their business, see what they need to do proactively, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
The best way to reach me is to visit our websites, www.adacasp.com. So that's adacasp.com. And we have a contact us page on our website, and you can fill that out.
Local phone number?
Local phone number is 916-742-1935.
One more time. Backwards.
Backwards.
Did I hear a niner in there? Calling
Well,
from
we
walkie-talkie?
we just moved our office, and so I had this new number.
Okay.
Anyway, it's 916-742-1935.
Great. Well, Troy, I'm glad you came in. It's one of those topics I didn't know enough about. I do know a little bit more now, so I do appreciate that. Stay for the next hour. If you are, I just want to let our listeners know, if you are looking for something to do this weekend, the IMAX Theater downtown, the Esquire IMAX, you can get actually 25% discount if you go online, put in the discount code Tarbell, Tarbell, get 25% off your total order. Print the coupon. You got to make sure you print the coupon and get an additional 25% off all concessions. After the break, I want to tell you real quick, we're going up to Hellwig Winery. I don't know if you've ever been to this winery. Incredible place.
I have not.
We were invited of one of the small crew to join Jeff and his wife celebrating their anniversary next weekend.
Good.
So we're going to be up there. Again, filling in for Jeff Tarbell is Nick Perjanik. In the studio today I do have Brad DeHaven. He's an LPL branch manager and financial consultant. He's going to be talking about his book and his experiences with family and issues around OxyContin addiction. And Troy, I want to thank you for coming in and talking a little bit about ADA. And again, Nick Perjanik filling in for Jeff Tarbell. Stay tuned for the second hour. You won't want to miss the topic. We'll be right back.